Good afternoon, good morning. Here in Chicago, this is Toyin Umesiri. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 businesses to launch that will drive trade with Africa. So, if this is your first time of joining any of my lives, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining from in the world. And my name is Toyin Umesiri. I'm the founder and CEO of Nazaru, Trade with Africa Business Summit. I also coach and teach international trade and entrepreneurship. And I've been hosting some live engagements just to really share insights, expertise to help guide a few people out there. Hopefully a lot. Okay. So today, over the years, I've written a lot of articles, right? So today I'm going to just dive into one of those very important ones. Actually, it's one of the most popular articles I've written, highly sought after, if I can say so. Or there's a lot of insights baked into it, and it's this idea of, for so many years, my work, I talk about advancing trade with Africa, working with key stakeholders in business and government. And some of the conversations at the grassroots level, it's really like, okay, Toyin, we hear you, right? We believe you. But how? How do we engage? What are the practical things we could do to engage? So this article is about breaking down businesses you can start, really. You can start it or even expand on it because this space is a growing space. Okay. So the first one is what I would call the exporter role, where let's say you're on the continent or even outside the continent, you could export products onto the continent and you could export products out of the continent, right? It sounds simple, but there's a process to it, right? Part of the process is all about what we call export development and market entry strategy development, right? Is this idea of expanding your business into new markets, right? It's all about distributing your product or your services to new markets because they are customers and potential clients in new markets. It's a way of growing. The biggest businesses in the world, they grow through exports. It's export is a major accelerator of economic development, right? So when you're talking about economic development, international trade is one of those engine of growth, right? Regions in the world that participate in international trade benefit from the reward. So let me just acknowledge those joining on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, where else? Twitter. Yes, thank you so much for joining. And please, if you're joining, let me know where you're joining from. Also, if you have any questions, if anything I say resonates with you, or if you have any questions or need more clarification, please just drop that as well. So again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know we have people joining from different parts of the world. So really, to advance trade with Africa, now trade is buying and selling. At the end of the day, it's commercial, right? A lot of times people say, "Oh, help Africa." I'm like, no, that's not the conversation we're having here. I see Kubalaji joining from Maryland. Thank you so much, Kubalaji. See, tomorrow you're signed in. Tomorrow, I'm looking forward to our program. The game plan 12 strategies for winning. It's a leadership and success coaching program. So I'll see you 10 a.m. Central Time. And for those who may still want to join us, this is the last chance to join. You can head over to tonyumesiri.com/the game plan. It's a leadership and success coaching program for capacity expansion. Really, it's a leadership for those who want to lead, whether in business or government or all of those things. I'll be really coaching tomorrow on that. It's a 3-hour masterclass. I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot, but it's really, I usually enjoy that kind of intense, very intense engagement. I love that. So that's why I keep doing it, is because I actually derive a lot of joy out of imparting knowledge and seeing people grow and bloom and achieve all that they want to achieve. So, okay, back to today's topic. Today, I'm talking about 5 businesses that you can launch that will advance trade with Africa. So, it's about commerce. Many times, people engage within the African conversation really in a loose, there's a cultural dimension, there's creative dimension, but for me, what I lead is commercial economic dimension. Let's just break it down. I try to put that out there, is that this is not about sentimental help Africa. No, that's not what this is about. This is about commercial interest. Do you want to build a business, right, around the emerging economic opportunity, right? So it's the mindset of an entrepreneur. It's approaching Africa through commercial lens, right? That's what I do. That's what we do at Nazaro. That's what we equip people to be able to do. It's not that we also see the other opportunities in terms of culture. In fact, this morning I was talking in terms of creative Africa. There is a business side of the creative industry, right? Like the music, the arts. I get it, right? So that's what we're about, is empowering people with the right skills so that they can commercialize all those things and reap the financial benefits really at the end of the day. Let's just say it as it is. Like I shoot straight. If you followed me for a while, you know that I try to be clear. I try to communicate clearly so that people don't make assumptions, because assumptions lead to a lot of things. Like when you're structuring deals, there's no assumption. You have to communicate your interests clearly, let everybody know what you're looking for, what you're selling, what you want to buy, clarity and precision. Like you have to articulate it, right? And it all starts from inside. And that's why a lot of the work I now do includes this mindset of an entrepreneur, mindset of a champion. You know, there's a lot of competition in the business workplace, right? Like, don't assume somebody is going to make your life easier because you're no, come at it commercially, come at it to win, come at it to compete, right? International trade is the Olympics of the business. So that is that level of intensity and strategy that I provide, right? So if you want to compete, if you want to win, if you want to commercialize your ventures, if you want to build globally relevant brand. In fact, I have a class on my membership that is called how to build a globally relevant brand. Yeah, on the Entrepreneurship Leadership Academy. I don't know if Kobaji, if you've seen it. If you search in the membership, you can find how to build a globally relevant brand. It's this idea that you can be anywhere in the world with all of the technology opportunities we have. You can build a globally relevant brand from anywhere you are in the world, but you need to know how to do it. Your messaging must be clear, your branding must be clear, your marketing, all of those things. The world as we have it today, there is nothing stopping you except yourself, except mindset or your perceived value or the value you're creating. Okay, Kobalaji said I'll look for it. Yeah, you can just do a search on the platform. The search is quite powerful. That's why I had to pull all of my resources into that membership, is because on social media you can't do all of these things. So in the membership, up above in the middle, just search maybe globally relevant brand, right? And you should be able to find it. But if not, message me in the on the platform and I'll send you the direct link. So basically it's this mindset of whatever it is you're building, how relevant it is it to your local community, your regional community, or the rest of the world? Like for me, Nazaru is relevant where we're sitting and engaging at the global level. How did I build it? Those are the things I equip people. It's a mindset. You can do it as well. If you want to do it, you can do it, but it doesn't happen by default. It's a strategic decision and it requires you to make strategic steps. Your marketing, your branding, your messaging, you have to come at it right at that level. Okay, so back to today's topic, 5 businesses to launch that will help you drive trade with Africa. Trade with Africa. Okay, 1, exporter. Are you an African exporter looking to expand either on the continent under the AfCFTA, African Continental Free Trade Agreement, or beyond the continent to new global markets? You can be an exporter, right? You're selling your products beyond your country. There's a way you have to do it though, right? Because in my class, I talk about local, regional, global markets. The way you buy and sell in your local market will be different from the way you buy. So let me read that paragraph here. I said exporter. Exporting is truly the bedrock of international trade development. It is the quest to expand beyond territories, right? In this case, you could be a foreign brand looking to penetrate the African market with your products, services, talents, creative industry, or you could be an African brand looking to export from Africa to other regions of the world. So that's an opportunity right there, is that how do you export? If you can do it, right? It's incredible. And there are certain strategic decisions you have to make. And in my export class, I cover it's a 3-hour course. You can access it on toyumesri.com. But let me just share a few things to think about if you want to export. You want to have a clear understanding of the buyers, the consumers of your product, right? When it comes to entrepreneur, I also teach like entrepreneurship, and so I'm going to mix everything together for you today, right? Is that anytime you say you're an entrepreneur, then you need to be, you need to, in fact, in retail, we say you have to be customer obsessed in the sense that your business only exists because you have customers, right? Your business only exists when you have customers willing to pay for your product and service. So if your product is something that is for your local market, yes, understand the buying behavior of those people in your local market. If it's a regional market, say you're in Africa, you want to go from Kenya to Uganda, where the people that would pay for that thing you should be laser focused on understanding who they are and their buying pattern and buying behavior. If you want to export it to US, or you're US trying to export to Africa, one of the things I push for, and people think in some way this sounds novel because they've never heard somebody articulate this. I say, if you're a US company looking to export to Africa, then start treating Africans as your customers, right? It's not this thing of you throw it there and then you're like back off. No, no, no. The same rigor, right? The same rigor of what you have to do to sell in America. Don't just assume that there's no competition on the continent, right? That's a recipe for failure right there. Is if you're assuming. That's why I say I don't like assumptions. Make no assumptions. Everybody has to educate themselves about the markets, about the buying behavior, and then align their products and their strategy based on market intelligence. That's what we call market data, market assessment, market, right? Like the more you know about the behavior and the markets, the more you can sell. Okay, I'm going to move on now. If you want to know more, if you're exporting, like my class, well, there's one class out there for those exporting from Africa to US. I'm working on one because of demand. Maybe in March, I'll release another one on if you want to export from US to Africa. I've not done that yet, but I host classes in business schools, and that's a hot topic right there. So I'll probably pull that together. So the second business. Okay, any questions on that? If not, I'll just keep moving, right? So I'm reading from my article, five businesses to launch that would drive trade. In fact, one of the things I was thinking of wrapping up my daily life, but then I realized like I have so much, right? This is good stuff. I write a lot. I've written more than 200 articles in the last year and a half, right? So maybe what I'm thinking of doing is maybe I'll stretch this thing, and this just this bundle enough. People can buy this bundle, 18 articles, right? That I've written over the years. I just pull them. You can't, I don't think you can access them online anymore. This is a private collection. I don't know if I should even read the article. Let me read the headlines because I'm thinking of just sharing some highlights over the next couple of weeks. So one is five businesses to launch that drives trade with Africa. Two, how to develop your winning export strategy. Three, 10 reasons why Africa is disconnected from the global supply chain. Four, five ways Africa will reshape the globe. Like on and on and on. Maybe I should just stop right there. I'm all over, right? Anyway, so one, be an exporter. Okay, I see. Is it a comment or a question? Kobalaji says, I struggle with the customer obsession piece in that I see what customers in my market like, but I'm concerned that my product will be, oh, indistinguishable from others in the market. Okay, wait a minute. I want to sit on that. I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You know what your customers want, but you're concerned about your product. That okay, so you okay. So this is where there's an exercise you can do that will fix what you're talking about. Okay, let me just pause a little and respond to that. So when I teach around customers and value proposition, okay, there's also a piece of how do you position your product and capture and what we call what's the name we call it in retail? you want to this, it's like you distinguish. There's a name we call it. If I remember, I'll tell you. But it's this idea that when you go into like a retail store and you want to buy, say, lotion, usually you're going to see 20 options. Okay, you're going to see 20 options of the same thing doing the same thing. Another example is if you're driving on a street and you want to buy gas, there's always going to be maybe 5 gas stations lined up. The key is you understanding the customer journey and then understanding how you're going to kind of, there's a name we call it, again when I remember, it's this idea of making your product distinct, and the way you actually do it, the solution is your branding and your story. Okay, the story around your product, the story you're going to tell about your product is what's going to set your product apart from the pile. This is where many people struggle, is that many people don't may not understand the power, why they should be investing in branding, right? If you don't invest in branding, then your product is always going to be seen through the lens of price. Is that the customer is always going to be you say, okay, I hope that you got that. Like, the power of brand. So there's also some videos on the platform that you can, I've talked about branding, but in February, yeah, next month, I'm going to be talking a lot about this as well on the my membership, right? So I'm going to be teaching more on this topic. Is that on the surface, people know, yeah, I need customer, but there are several strategic things and tactical things you have to do to map it out, right? It's this idea that if you don't invest in branding and storytelling, the customer is always going to evaluating your product among other products because you've not told them why they should take a closer look at your product. You've not told them why. How you design that is what we then talk about in branding and marketing. The whole point of branding and marketing is to distinguish your story, because many times people think customers are just buying a product. No, that's not what we're paying for. We're paying for the story as well. But I'll stop there. I hope that helps. We'll cover it more in the membership. Okay. So back to today's topic around 5 businesses to launch that will drive trade with Africa. So one, exporter. That's the person who is distributing. You could also even be an aggregator. So that phrase exporter, there are several roles even baked in. The more sophisticated the supply chain is, there might be different players to drive exports. There could be, someone who is actually the manufacturer. There could be the distributor. There could be the retailer. That's the traditional model, right? In distribution model for products. So along that line, there's product markup. Everybody makes money from that product. These are the mindset shift I'm trying to get people to see, that there are traditional means of doing all these things, but there are strategies you have to know. There's also the aggregator. There's the oh gosh, there's a lot of technical stuff, right? Those, when I say I'm teaching, anytime you hear me say I'm teaching, right now I'm just sharing insights and educating, something to just give people things to think about, right? But when I am teaching, I go down to the detail. I have PowerPoint, I have customer data, customer insights, graphs, different things, right? So anytime you hear me say I'm teaching, I'm hosting a class, I'm hosting a master class, is because I'm taking this topic, right? In my article is just one paragraph. Just that one paragraph is a 3-hour masterclass. So so anytime I say I'm teaching, is that I'm taking that topic to say, how do you win as an exporter? I'm talking about your pricing model, supply chain logistics, packaging, right? Serial, like I'm going to the length and breadth of how to win as an exporter. The second one here, which is the opposite side of the coin, is the importer. Even in my class, I usually cover the both sides of the coin, because one mistakes I've found many people make, particularly the diaspora, a lot of people make this. They think they can do everything. You want to be the exporter, you want to be the importer. It's possible, but you must have the resources for you to grow and advance and expand. More people have to be involved, more roles, right? That's the way to scale. But as long as you are the one doing A, B, C, D, E, you are going to stay small. Unless, of course, you have massive resources to pump into those things, right? So the whole reason of the structure around manufacturer, distributor, retailer structure, which is a mature, that's how the biggest brands in the world is. Like you have the retailers focused on cost having the customer, you have the distributor focused on bulk, getting the bulk out of the manufacturer and distributing through the network. And then you have the manufacturer. The reason that structure always works is because so that everybody can specialize and put their resources in developing expertise. That way, the manufacturer can get deeper into perfecting, increasing the quality of what they are producing. The reason some people cannot increase quality or improve quality, why? Is because they've stretched their resources in trying to take that thing to the market, right? So for every dollar you're using to ship, to brand, to do, to which that's also the power of. There's another model where it's direct to customer. The internet allows you to do it faster. It breaks down those middle player, but in order to even scale, even online, you've got to have the back end warehousing, supply chain understanding expertise, because there's a process we call pick, pack, ship. See, I'm going into my technical, like supply chain is really my background. Okay. So there's a process we call pick, pack, ship, and there's a lot of automation. The bigger you are, I used to work for the biggest retailer in the world. So I'm also trying to take something massive, I'm trying to make it relevant to small businesses, right? It's at the at the most sophisticated level in the world, the most sophisticated supply chain in the world. Those were the things I was supporting before. I understand that world, but I'm also trying to bring it down to a very small level where everyday, SMEs, small businesses, first time entrepreneurs can still learn something from that big strategy. I'm trying to say this is how they get big. For you to get bigger, there has to be a lot of process, there has to be a lot of structure, there has to be a lot of systemization. But I'm just here to say that it's anyway. Let me move on. So on the other side is the importer role, and that's the person that is completing the import documentation, and usually that person has a responsibility for distribution, right? So there's the sales side, there's the demand. When in economics we talk about laws of demand and supply, right? There's the demand side, the demand signal, and then the importer buys. But you also, as the exporter, you also need to think about, again, the end consumer, because the buyer or the importer is only going to buy what they can distribute. There's no point buying anything from the exporter if you cannot distribute and make money from it. This is where, again, the entrepreneurship mindset is that the moment you want to start engaging with the importer, there's a relationship, there's a mutual benefit you have to understand, where importer and exporter has to benefit. Because if the importer, particularly if they are reseller, if they buy something from you and they get stuck and they cannot sell that thing, they're not coming back to you. So everybody wins. When the exporter wins, the importer is able to mark up and able to distribute. So I'll stop there as well. Then the third one is what I call trade facilitator. This again is when you start getting into more sophisticated transaction. Is this idea that there is facilitator role where you're connecting buyers to sellers, you're making the transaction happen, because international trade is so it's fun, but it's complex. I wish I could tell you it was easy. It's not. And because people think it's easy, that's why there's a high failure rate. People ship things, it gets rejected, right? So what I try to do is to prepare people to say, just set your mind, commit to the journey. There's a lot of reward, right? You are investing, it's like a business. There's a lot of upfront investment associated to winning. But once you figure it out, it might take you months or a year, but the moment you figure it out, then you can start growing and scaling up. It's just like another new business venture. It's like expanding a new line, right? But a lot of times people think, and nothing happens overnight. So for those people who come to me and say, "Oh, don't you this?" I'm like, is it magic? Even if you ship something today, it will still take how many months, right? On the ship. So nothing happens overnight, nothing. But the process, learning the process is the first step, right? That's why I say I have an international trade community that I teach, academy that I teach. Why? It's because the first step is learn. Learn the process. When you don't learn the process, you're stepping into a space that you've not prepared for. Okay. So the importer then buys and distributes. Marks it up, distribute. Again, there's a lot of processes to that. What distribution network are you going to use? Do you know the customer? Right? Do you, if you price it, what is your break-even point? How do you import? What's the best channel like a lot of decision making process. There's an export, like I said, there's an export course you can take. toyinmesri.com. Just access that on Thinkific. Trade facilitator. Let me just read. Maybe I should read okay, let me read trade facilitator. It said you're not a buyer. Like, this is something I wrote before, right? You're not the buyer and you're not the seller. So what are you? When you are in a deal signing room, you will usually find more people than those with the actual signatory responsibility, right? Every one of the people that you see in that room who play some form of role that helps drive the deal forward are those I call trade facilitator. Without them, nothing truly ever happens. I play that role as well. Every They are the trade financing institutions, international trade lawyers, researchers, analysts, due diligence, those who complete the diligence of the deal. They play a unique role and they are often paid for the services rendered. So if you have those type of skills, like you're a lawyer, international trade lawyer, or you're an accountant, or you work for a bank, trade finance institution, or a government, so there's a lot also government trade facilitators. You are pretty much supporting the trade and investment community, right? You're providing services that helps advance trade with Africa, that helps move the conversation forward. You could be providing data, you could be right through research, you could be providing services like legal services or financial services, or even consulting, right? You could be doing all of those things to help facilitate. We don't have enough people with that skill set. So that's why I also have a trade and investment facilitation masterclass out there. Is that not enough people know that they can build a business, bring in their services, right? You could be a shipping company, right? You could be a service provider. You could be a customs agent, a broker. You could be a freight forwarder. You're helping facilitate those things, right? Number 4 also I covered here, service provider. It's really the shipping companies, the branding, the marketing agencies, like on and on and on. Technology, social media, in order to distribute products, whether local, from farm to the market, to push a product into the marketplace, many hands come together. I think that's the point I'm trying to raise, right? Is that for you to actually do this really well, to commercialize anything, it takes a lot of expertise. And the real struggle that most people have is that they don't have that expertise and they're trying to do it by themselves. It's either you have the knowledge and you know who to tap into and you know how to bring things together, or you have to pay somebody to teach you or to conduct that service for you. Bro, people call me, oh, Toyin, do I need this? Do I need an agent? Like, you don't need it, but if you don't know it, you need it. That's the key. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, get somebody that knows what they're doing, right? It's this idea that somebody that's been doing it 20, 30 years knows it more than you. If you know it, you don't need that help. But if you need the help, pay for the help. It's simple. It's that simple. But unfortunately, people, they're trying to, in a way, eat their cake and have it. But out here in the entrepreneurship world, you have to, if you need a service, you need to procure that service. Like, it's a no-brainer, right? If you need information, procure that information, buy it. If you need banana, you go to the store and you buy banana. If you need beans, you go to the store and you buy beans. The same thing as an entrepreneur. If you need a brand strategist, purchase that service. If you need to improve your ABCD, buy it. But what people, no, this doesn't apply to everybody, right? But I find this struggle, like, people want opportunity, but they don't want to invest in the knowledge and the skill that will help them attract those opportunities. So because of that, there's little progress being made, right? So yeah, you could be a service provider, and then consultant, educator, advisor, analyst, right? Like we need more of this expertise, right, to advance trade with Africa. So I'm looking at time. I'll stop right there. There's a whole lot more. I'm kind of like so happy with myself because I pushed this. This was my New Year January push leading up to tomorrow's class, right? Let me put it up there for those watching the game plan, 12 strategies for winning. This is for people who want more success, more opportunities, and they want to have the skills to level up, to level up their game this year. So you can go to toyinmesri.com for all the other resources, but for the game plan, just you see it there as well. Should I share one more? I don't know. Let me see if there are any questions. I'm trying to wrap up, but the next one would be how to develop a winning export strategy. Let me just share the highlights. I won't go too much. Or maybe I'll just, I don't know. See, information like when I say come to my school, you will go to school. Oh. You will go to school, you will read. And what I'm finding that people just want surface. Tell me the surface. No, diamonds are not on the surface. You know that, right? The best resources, oil, they're not on the surface. People will be skimming it if it were on the, no, you have to dig for it. You have to dig. Gold is not, it's like the best juicy resources, information that I found that will change your life, and not just your life, generational wealth that will help you create generational wealth. These things, like when people build this infrastructure, these businesses, right? These are the types of businesses that don't die. They pass it on. You look at the cocoa in Africa, you look at Ashes, you look at Cadbury, you look at all these major companies that were built around export and import. They've been there for 80 years. Like retail, the real sector does not die because somebody's always going to need toothpaste, right? Somebody's also always going to need fabric and apparel. We're always going to need jewelry and all those things. Like the sector that supports the human race with the need, not the want. I'm not talking about want. I'm saying that if you go into a space, if you build a business that supports human consumption, the things we are consuming every single day, those businesses do not end. They don't die. They are just passed down to the next generation. Does that make sense? I'm just sharing something super, like you need to tweet this, you need to tell everybody. If you're looking for a business that you can pass on to the next generation, just build a business around human consumption. Things we consume, we clothes, toothpaste, food, agriculture, banana. Do you know how many bananas people eat? Meats. That's why retail is a big business. Look at the Fortune 500 and look at what global retailers are doing better than even oil company or tech. You don't understand. This is the secret. Like you build supply chain to support human consumption, you are set for life. Why? Because more babies are being born. We are growing. The cycle of anything that supports the cycle of life. Babies being born, people going to school, people getting married, right? People cooking, right? People reading, going to school, shoes, clothes, cosmetics, skincare. You're always going to shower, brush your teeth, shower, look good. Those things, they are the things fueling the retail industry. The supply chain supports the distribution of the basic needs of humans: food, clothing, and shelter. You remember is it economics or so is it social studies? What are the fundamental needs of the human? Food, clothing, and shelter. Food, clothing, and shelter. If you get in the business of providing food, clothing, and shelter, you are set. Okay. Okay. That is business 101. Send my money if I'm just teaching you. If you're in the business of those things, if you build an enterprise around those things, when you are done, you pass it to your children. Why? Because people are always going to need food, clothing, and shelter. Okay, I'll stop right there. Come back again for more. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. I'm everywhere. What else? Please go to toyumesiri.com. Take this video, share it with somebody. That's all I'll ask for, right? Let's spread this word. It's our time, people. You have a great weekend. If there are no questions, I'm trying to keep this really short each day. That way I can see how consistent I am, because I've been deliberating. Should I stop this? Should I keep going on? Should I stop it? Yeah, these are the thing drama in my head. Like, there's so much to share. There's so much. Like, this is like 18 articles, and I've written more than 200 of those. I'm putting books together. I teach classes. I host events, all for you guys. All for you guys, man. Okay, that's it. It's a wrap, people. I have work to do. I have a class tomorrow, 3 hour class. I need to put final touches to my PowerPoint for my members tomorrow. But feel free, yeah, join my membership if you want to know more. I'm teaching entrepreneurship, I'm teaching international trade, leadership coach, because yeah, that's what it takes at the end of the day. There's a lot of economic development stuff that I do with government, right? But it's the top down. But what I'm talking about and my priority this year is grassroots, supporting people at the grassroots with knowledge, skill, so that they can participate in the global economy, so that they can capture more opportunities for themselves. Like, that's what I had to prioritize. And there's so many conversations I get pulled into. And so if you want to acquire those skills as well, the destination is tonyumesiri.com. There you're going to find a lot of resources. Even if you're not even ready to purchase anything or buy anything, I have some free resources on there, videos, stuff. It's a small school. And when you're ready to invest more time, you can start with some courses, or you can enroll for the 12-year. I said 12-year, 12 months. You can look at my calendar. There's a link there that takes you to the calendar of activities for the international trade, which is the advanced one, or the entrepreneurship, where you're actually acquiring the skills to commercialize, like understanding your customer, business model design, like how to build a business from scratch. Because the next phase, the next phase of growth must be led by entrepreneurs, right? It's not going to be government, it's going to be entrepreneurs. And for places like here in the US, the government serves because economic development, the economic engine is the private sector, right? You have to learn these things, right? So hopefully, I hope I'm clear, because my attempt is to make this simple. I'm working really, really hard to land my plane in a way that everybody can understand and access and learn and grow and implement. That's my work, because at the very, very high level, when I'm talking about economic development, this, usually it's like with economists, it's with government, it's with this, it's like I have land, I have people, I have youth, women, this, youth, and it's strategic. But what I'm finding is that stuff is so heavy that you have to break it down. You have to break it down, make it relevant. Anyway, that's my observation. So that's it. It's a wrap. Any other thing here? Please, I'm also looking for feedback. I've been doing this for a while. I'm like, okay, is this even helping? Does this even make sense? Like, do people want more of this? Like, what do you want me to change? What do you want me to adjust? Because this weekend, as we're moving into the new month, I'm actually shifting my strategy. I'm like, well, that's one thing I do, is that after I test something out, I test it, I use it, play with it, and I'll take a step. I don't just keep doing what everybody's doing. I'll take a moment, and that moment is right now as we're wrapping up. This is the last live for the year, for the month. This is a new year, right? On Monday, I'm launching the first ever LinkedIn audio. I've been on Clubhouse for months testing that. I'm a tester. If you see me, I'm just explore until I make up my mind. I try everything, and that's what I preach. Try everything. So join me on Monday on LinkedIn for my first ever LinkedIn audio. I'm testing it, but I'm also hosting a conversation around the power of clarity, which is the first module of the class I'm teaching tomorrow. So I'll just give you a taste of what you missed. For those who didn't sign up for tomorrow, on Monday, I will tell you what you've missed, and then I'll tell you if you want to buy, go and buy $1,000. You will pay. Anyway, really, because when I do my strategy, right, which is what I also teach in pricing strategy, right? Whether in international trade or entrepreneurship. So all you have to do is just watch me. I practice what I preach. I only teach what I've practiced. I only teach what I've tested, right? My stuff are so original. What I teach is so original because it's been tested. So one thing I do in pricing is when I launch something new, I start, I lower the barrier to entry. Okay, I lower the barrier. So anytime you are seeing me launch something, the day you see it, grab it because that price is not staying there. That's my strategy. I'm just sharing my own strategy. I will start because I'm a strategist, right? I will start lower the barrier to entry. I'll see the feedback, right? I'll watch the feedback. I'll watch the reaction because I'm lowering I know the value of what I do. The value of what I do is a lot. So I'm not starting with charging at the value. I don't do that. I will still test other things, but I'm trying to tell you my strategy so that if you too, as an entrepreneur, think about pricing. There's a pricing strategy. A lot of times, people are too emotional with pricing. I'm not emotional. No, I'm strategic, and I'm trying to share this with you. Okay, so I usually I will not start at the extreme. My own strategy is to lower the barrier. Why? I want to see if other people understand that if you buy like this is being a premium product is being given to you at this level, because I'll share another pricing strategy with you and it works in other things. I'm saying if you want it, take it now, because I'm going to be increasing my price. In fact, the recording is going to be more than the live. Like that's, again, this is just me. It's my own way. It keeps everything I'm doing. The first time you see it, anytime you see it, know that that's the least price is ever going to be, because it's going up from there. Because I used to serve executives, like I know the ultimate value of what I do is is largely unaccessible for many people, and it's accessible for small people. And my attempt to distribute it broadly leads me to start at a smaller price. It's not that, but if I, because I can change that strategy like now, which I'm going. That's why I say it's always going to go up. By this time next year, if you heard me 2 years ago, I told some people who followed me 2 years ago, I told them some things and I've done it. So as a strategy, I'm intelligently saying that by this time next year, whatever you don't access now, it will be double or triple the price, because the industry, the demand, and like even in your market, I'm sharing these things so that you can use this intelligence when you're doing your business as well. Don't use sentiments. No, there's no sentiments is this thing. The law of demand and supply. When demand for something goes up, you will start seeing price go up. That's what I'm saying. That's the strategy, right? Is that when there's this when there's when something is new, the strategy and other people use this strategy. There are some technology companies that's, before the digital era came in, they'll be giving you those things free. They'll tell you test this free. All this what are these, like, even on social media, what's the name of this company? Youth Suite. Oh, free this. They're giving you free. 3 years ago, everything was free. Now you will pay. Why? Demand has gone up, value has increased, more people want it, and they want it enough that the value is higher. They are now charging you for real. I'm telling you, it's a strategy. Apply it to your business as well. You see what I'm saying? And I'm using it to say, now I'm still like, oh, go for my class. Oh, come for my. And I'm still putting some prices, and people are still like, don't worry. 2 years, even by this time next year, times three. I'm off. I'm off to the next thing, because the ultimate value of all these things I'm saying is levels. I mean, I have a testimonial of someone that said, well, I went to Harvard executive this, I went to this. They didn't even teach me what you're teaching me, right? This is an executive, right, that owns many companies, including a radio station. It was like, I've gone for Harvard this, I've gone for international trade this, I've gone for this event, government this. In 2 days of sitting under, right, your community and learning these things. And then he was also my client, so I also coached him one-on-one. It was like he had to write a testimony and say, Toyin, the value you just gave me, the last 2 years of me chasing this, Harvard, this to learn this thing, they didn't teach me what you're teaching me. So I know the value. And every time on LinkedIn, he's always saying, everybody listen to Toyin. I'm like, yes, keep telling people to listen, right? Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. By this time next year, for you to fully enroll, you pay 5K, 10K. I'm telling you. No. The reason I'm sharing this is when you're building your business, remove sentiment. It's not sentimental, it's the law of demand and supply. Understand the market, understand your customers, understand the perceived value of what you're doing, price accordingly. As the perceived value goes up, charge more. And one way you can also influence the perceived value, okay, is all perception, right? I know the ultimate value to you, how it will transform your life. I know, okay? But there are sometimes, you see, when I'm also teaching, I use this. So I've moved into, I'm done for the day, but I'm just gisting. Some things are just, it's the end of the week. There's still things I need to do, but let me just share this just in case people need to hear it. Okay. So when I'm teaching this idea of marketing, this is more of marketing, right? That each part, right? When it comes to marketing, I say, for example, if you're a dentist, okay, if your business is you're opening a dentistry, or right, you're a dentist, you're opening a store, you will not need to tell me or your customers why we need you. You know why? We have all been educated about brushing our teeth twice a day. But we've been told that this teeth, you need a dentist. So any new dentist that opens a store in my community, they won't have to do too much marketing. You know why? All they even have to do is, we've opened, there's a new dentist in town. This is our address. They go on Google, they might do Google this, Google me, blah, blah, blah. Because you know why? We all in the community, we need a dentist, and we know we need a dentist for our kids, for ourselves, right? It's part of life. Over the last 50, 30 years, the world of toothpaste and brush, they've educated us that we need them. So we know the need. But if you're building a business or you're offering a service that nobody knows they need you, what it means is the demand for what it is you're building doesn't exist. And you are trying to sell what people don't, what demand for it doesn't exist. The question is, there's a strategy. Do you want to know the strategy? There are certain things you have to do. It's first of all realizing that there's nothing wrong with the market. The only thing is that people are spending every single day. So the problem is not, do people have money? People have money. You are buying shoes, 200 shoes. That Nike this. You are buying car. People are spending every day. The key is, people only spend when this is an individual decision, know that they have a need. People spend when it comes to their need or their aspirations. People don't just throw, unless it's a donation, right? So this psychology of understanding human buying behavior, okay, again, no sentiment. It's about it's market, what we call marketing. You have to know your customers, know how they think, know what you're trying to, right, understand how the market is behaving. And I'm just giving you an insight. These are the things I teach. When I say I teach, I don't think people understand. The people don't even know that they it is well. The biggest brands in the world will always get bigger. You know why? They pay people like me to bring our expertise. There's a phone ringing. I'm going to Mute it. Okay. So basically, the biggest brands in the world gets bigger. Why? Because they bring experts like myself to think all of these things. And here am I saying, you need to do this. Okay. So again, if you're a dentist, you don't need to do a lot, it's too much marketing. You just say, this is who I am. We are here. This is our office. We're open these hours, right? The rest, people are already looking for you. We're searching, oh, dentist near me. Oh, my son needs to see a dentist. People are having tooth decay. They already know. The moment they feel that pain, they're like, I need to see a dentist. They've been educated. But for you, your potential customers they don't even know they have that issue. They don't even know they need you. Even when they're experiencing that pain, they don't know who to call. It's like if you have a pain, where to go to the doctor, when you need to go to a dentist, right? Even in the medical profession, you've been educated that there are different doctors, different specialization for different things you are facing. Okay. In the world of personal development, or even let me just say in the professional world of professional services, consulting services, many people have not been educated about, if you're facing this issue in your business, call an accountant. If you want to structure a deal, bring in a lawyer. If you need business strategy, bring in people like myself. If you need to design the business structure, bring in people like me. If you need to export, people have not been educated. So whether you are the consumer of those skills, or you are the distributor, meaning you're the one bringing that service, both sides now needs education, right? The buyer and the seller needs education, because you don't know what you're looking for, and you don't know who you're selling to. So this is where strategy is important, particularly marketing strategy, right? Is this idea of leaning in to understand the value of what you're bringing to the marketplace, leaning in to understand who needs it, and what pain are you addressing. These are the things, when I say I teach, in fact, when I hold a pen, I always go like value proposition, understanding the pain, because people only will buy that pain. It's like, you don't go to, sometimes, I should see a dentist, but until that pain is like, unbearable, right? You don't rush in. So you need to build a business where the pain, you let people know that pain you're feeling. Come to me to address that pain. Sometimes you will still say, no, I can deal with it. Okay. Time will tell. I give you 6 more months. So I have realized, this is where, when you see me smiling, the reason I'm smiling is, in my customer avatar, right? The people who need what I do. I've come to realize that um there's a certain level they have to get to before they seek me out. Like, it's like, there has to be this level of pain in the business. Like, there has to be this internal disruption and frustration of wanting more, of haven't tried everything, and they are realizing, everything I've tried is not, I need extra help. Then they now say, oh, I remember Toy. That's what I've seen. So I'm saying, understand that cycle for your business as well. Whatever you're building, understand the behavior of at what point people decide that they need you, because they have to need you to pay you. Nobody throws money around anyway. Like, no, you have to know. That's why I said no sentiments, right? So if you're providing a service or you're providing a product, understand the demand signal, right? The demand signal, the sweet spot, what triggers people to approach you, to connect with you, to buy from you, right? Just like we always remember the dentist analogy, is that we all know sometimes we should be seeing the dentist like every 6 months. That's the wise thing, right? We know we should be repairing things before they buy, but we know human behavior is that until that tooth gives you unbearable pain, that you can't function, you now say, okay, today I will move myself and go to a dentist. The same thing happens in business. So, how do you help people understand? How do you educate your potential customers, whether local market or international? How do you help them understand how to see the pain that you help them address? That's the entrepreneur's job. You have that job, because I've seen people complain, oh, people are not buying. I get it, but you have to apply this level of intelligence, market intelligence, customer intelligence, like customer obsession. You have to take it to the lab. You have to put your customers under the microscope. Like, you have to understand them. You have to be passionate about them, because at the end of the day, the care you have for them is what your service is demonstrating. Because if you don't care for them, why should they even bother coming to you? You have to care enough about that need to understand that need and tell them, you need this. You need it. I know you need it. You may not know you need it, but I know that I can support you. I can serve you in a way that will be game changing for you. And sometimes people will say, because once people understand, then price is never an issue. What I've also realized, price is not an issue. It's not. Because I remember as far back as maybe it's I don't know, 16, 20, 2006, like when I was a graduate student, and I wanted the certification, SAP certification, that was 1,500 as a student far back as 16 years ago. I know what I did. I wanted it because that certification would be a game changer. It allowed me to negotiate a higher salary. It set me above. I made that money immediately. I recovered that investment. So this is something that even in our professional growth, you know the power of certification, you know the investment you go to get your BSc, your master's, your PhD. This is a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer of personal development. Like when you invest in acquiring knowledge or acquiring skills to advance yourself, advance your own goal, it's a no-brainer. It's a no, right? Like you like, again, I'm just trying to break this thing down. I'm sharing my own story. I'm sharing what I teach so that in a way you can mirror it back and hopefully implement it and start thinking, because my goal is for people to decouple this sentimental, oh, this, no. There's no, let's leave the emotional, right? The mindset of an entrepreneur, the mindset of an entrepreneur is, you need customers. Customers have to exist, that they care about like what you're doing and bringing to the marketplace. They care enough about it. They need it enough that they are ready to dip their hands into their pocket and pay you to solve that thing. So whatever it is you're solving must be big enough, must be big enough. And you have to, it is your job to explain over and over and over and over and over again. Never stop explaining what you do and what you're solving. The day you stop explaining, no, like the biggest brands in the world, the reason they never stop, they are the biggest spenders in marketing, because marketing is the vehicle which we use to tell the people we're hoping to serve what we can do for them. So I'm breaking this down. This is teacher Toyin now, Coach Toyin. I try to simplify this thing because every time I tell people marketing or brand, they're like, you need it. If you, okay, let me say it. Let me change. You want it because it will get you better results. You may feel you don't need it. That's fine. So you're not investing in branding. You're not investing in marketing. Let me also tell you, branding is how you charge more. Branding is how you influence what you can charge in the marketplace. Because when you don't brand, people will pay you the least amount. But when you say, no, 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 that's no, not here. Keep it moving. Branding is how you elevate. It's the painting. It's the story you tell of who you are, the value of your product, and your standards. And say, I'm coming down from here. You meet me up here. Right? Branding, think of it as branding is you telling the story of your standards. So anybody that wants to start negotiating your standard, it's up to you. At some point, people will now say, "Ooh, keep moving. I'm not for you." If I'm for you, the people who need me, who want to also operate at that level, at those standards, they will see the value. This is right. That's what luxury does. The luxury industry. The luxury industry begs nobody. You want this red bottom shoe? It's 800 and above. You want this LV bag? 1500 and above. Don't ask me how I know the price. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. No, I'm looking at some. Don't ask me. I'm looking at some shoes here that COVID-19 has not let me wear. I'm looking. There was a day. There was a day. I took out all my bags, my designer bags. I started cleaning and arranging them. I'm like, COVID-19, showstopper. I'm sorry. I just totally went off there. Okay, Kobalaji knows me already. She knows some people know me that I can just yes, I'm looking at my fine shoes that I'm going nowhere. It's COVID. He's saying sit down at home. Say sit down that handbag. It's sitting there. Leather handbag. I'm like, ah, I miss. Okay. So the luxury world, they know what they are selling us. And that price is not changing. It's not negotiable. The standards. It's not the same quality could be made by somebody else in Aba. If you know Aba, you know Aba. We need to start marketing Aba, right? But the brand, the story, and of this, what we stand for, you know, I love. Okay, many people that don't know me, like, hi, I'm retail hardcore, retail hardcore. Oh, I love storytelling and retail, right? That's me. So even when I'm buying, right? This is why I'm just here now. Again, it's the end of the week. I'm just gisting at this point. It's this idea of how we buy, how we sell, the psychology, right? So, for example, like I am a like retail hardcore, like this stuff, right? Oh, when they were selling it to me, oh, Toyin, it's a Italian coin, original coin. I'm like, eh? Tell me more. Yes, it's a real coin, Italian coin. It's actually valuable. It's a coin. I say, ah, oh, tell me more. You say this. I say, I want that too. I want it too. So I'm dripping myself in not just fine jewelry, but it's real coin, Italian lira, 500 lira, whatever it is. It's actually a coin, 120 L20 lira, 1981. This one. That's the branding. That's the effect of branding. You will pay more when they tell you that story. Okay. I'm wrapping up now. It's been fun. Thank you, everybody that's been a part of this journey. Go subscribe to my YouTube. Share this with somebody you love. Share this with somebody you care for. Let's start this journey of wealth creation, learning the skills, building our capacity, becoming a leader, going for more. That's what I'm about, people. It's like, like I think it's like it's like this, marketplace is like punch, like show your stuff. The people that I coach, you know, it's about empowerment. True empowerment is knowledge empowerment because when we know better, we do better, people. That's what this is about. And I want to thank you so much. I want you to have a great weekend, but do me a favor. Share this with somebody you care about, somebody you love, that you want them to also elevate and build businesses. This session for sure, I know would bless people. 5 businesses that you can build advances trade with Africa. And then at the very end, I also added some incredible tips out there. So thank you. I'm going to wrap up the mainstream now.